So, good morning and welcome back to the channel. I just wanted to film a 2024 update of my setup for Morocco in November. A couple of changes this year to the bike, just to make things a little bit better, because you obviously learn from your experiences. Excuse the bash plate missing for those observant ones. I haven't put it on yet. I've been doing some work on it. So that's the only thing that just needs to go on. So let's just talk through a little bit about maintenance prep that's occurred for this trip. I've done front and rear brake fluids on the bike, so replaced that completely with fresh brake fluids. I've done fresh spark plugs on the bike. I've done radiator fluid, flushed that properly and done that. I've put some new guards on. So these are supplied by ADV Products in the UK. That's an Acerbis engine guard. On that side, it's the clutch side, and then they've also supplied me with one on the other side here, another Acerbis one, which is new. I've got some swing arm guards from Acerbis, also from ADV Products. So thank you, Jez, for supplying those. Other things that I've added to the bike this year are I've changed my pannier setup ever so slightly. So let's walk around to the side of the bike here. That is a Krieger 18 this year. Last year I had a Krieger 12s, and then I had a bunch of stuff on the front. I didn't like the stuff on the front. I've taken my crash bars off the front. I don't like that setup, and I've gone for 18s on the rear here. They strapped on with some ADV Products straps, as well as some rock straps in addition, because you need lots and lots of strapping. So the idea is I've got all my camping gear in the back here. I have my tent, I have my sleeping bag in this big roll bag at the back, and this is about all it contains. So it's super light. On top it's the sleeping bag and the tent poles. The tent itself is in this pannier here. My roll mat, my pillow. I've got some sleeping gear, which is like some thermals because it gets cold in the desert. And then I've got some change of gear for riding, like spare socks and just general riding gear, tops and things like that. Tights that I wear underneath. So that's what's in those, keeping it super light. I'm not taking any cooking gear or tea making facilities. I found you just go into towns, you interact with people, you go to people's cafes. When you're filling up with fuel, you have a coffee or tea. And I quite like Moroccan tea, so yeah, it saves carrying all that stuff. Other things that have changed this year are I've got a Seat Comforts high seat. So it's a Seat Comforts, it's the comfort one, and it's the high one. I'm 6'3", and I'm quite tall, so it doesn't make a problem for me putting my feet on the ground. But what it does do is it's obviously more comfy, like being the comfort one, and it reduces the distance between when I'm sat on the seat to when I'm standing. So when I'm that distance there changes, it becomes less. So when you're riding off-road in the desert all day, you go up and down loads of times in a day. If you reduce that distance, it reduces your fatigue somewhat. Plus I like the sort of my knees, and you know, obviously in that sort of bent position when you're on the bike, imagine that's the foot at the bottom. It's, you know, the closer you are to the foot pegs, the more bent your knees are. The further away, the less bent they are, so it's more comfortable for me. It doesn't work for short people, it only works for tall guys. So that's what I like. I've got a different headlight protector on this year. My last one broke last year. It got hit by a rock. One of my mates was ahead of me and got hit by a rock. And then this year I'm going to change my camera setup on the front too. So I'm going to put my Insta360 on here. It fits quite nicely on the cockpit with my GPS unit. And I'm going to run a smaller screen this year. I just found the bigger screen was causing a load of wind buffeting on my helmet. I'm taking it off this year, and it sort of hits me more sort of shoulder height, and then the helmet can do its job with its aerodynamics. I obviously wear earplugs too. I do have a Scott steering dampener on here. I had that on last year. I have K-Tech OVRS setup on front and rear on the shock. I would love to have a tractive shock Extreme Pro on the back, but you know, funds and all that stuff. Just on the luggage here, last year I found I had some problems. I lost, and holding water bottles like this, extra water, you need extra water with you if you're camping out in the desert and stuff. I lost 1 or 2 bottles on the rough sections because they just weren't secure enough or strapped in secure. I didn't have a dedicated water holding facility apart from my backpack. My backpack, I was carrying 3 liters, but this year I've got some Oxford water holders, and it holds in here is a 1.5 litre bottle, so I've got 2 of them, 1 each side, so it balances the bike out. So there's 3 liters on the back here, plus an extra 3 liters in my Camelback. That means I've got 6 liters of water with me at all times, and whenever I come into town, whatever I've finished, I replenish. And then in these little Krieger pouches here, there's another one there, I have quick access tools. So those are little spanners that fit little adjustments on the handlebars, loose nuts and bolts. So most of that, and then I have some cable ties, some sockets, I've got spare nuts and bolts, things like that, all in those little pouches, which makes it easy for me to access those tools if I need them. My bigger tool roll is on the right hand side of my bike in this pannier here. So there I carry my tire changing kit, my stand to hold my bike up when I get a puncture, and those sort of bigger things that you need. So they are nice, and that tool roll is nice and low in the pannier, so it keeps the weight down a bit. I know the bike is a little bit back end heavy, I recognize that, but this is super light. It's only a sleeping bag, it weighs nothing. And yeah, I prefer in the desert to have my front end a little bit light. When you're riding in dunes, and I do ride in the big fuck off dunes, I do want my front end light. These bikes are heavy on the front, they're not enduro bikes, so they're very front end heavy compared to an enduro bike, and lightening it up a little bit for myself, it feels good to me. So everybody has their preferences, you stick to what your preferences are. Obviously fresh brake pads, fresh bearings. I've done wheel bearings, linkage bearings, I've had the suspension serviced, I've checked the headstock, I've done the swing arm bearing, I might have said that already. So lots of checks like that. As I said, I did the spark plugs, so it's got fresh spark plugs in. I've gone through all the wiring. I had an electrical charging issue on my GPS. I've gone through and inspected that wiring, found the weak link, fixed that. I'm running a spare clutch cable here, which is pre-wired in and ready to go if that gives me hassles. Double take mirrors I've had on the bike for quite a long time. They're brilliant, you fold them away nicely. I've got a little ultimate add-ons USB socket and USB-C socket built. I've plugged that into the bike now, so that makes it easy for gaining power. And I'll run a tank bag over the top here, and I'll wire in a USB cable into the tank bag so I can charge things. But I don't have my final tires on yet. I know everybody likes to talk about tires, but those tires will come. They are full rally tires. Don't mess about. If you're going into the desert, don't ride with anything other than rally tires. Rally tires are designed for rallying, which makes them tougher. It means they're designed for the environment, so why would you not use them? It doesn't make any sense to me. I do also have a Camel ADV extra 5 litre fuel tank on the back here. I had that on last year. I will obviously be using that this year. It worked a treat. It means it gets rid of fuel anxiety, so you've got 21 litres of fuel on the bike at all times. Cool, over and out. See you on the next one.